It's 30 years in the future, and the Robinson family has been chosen to start a new life in a space colony. On the way to what they believe will be a better world, the Robinson ship is abruptly thrown off course, and they are thrown into a dangerous alien environment. Now light years from their original destination, they must forge new alliances and work together to survive.
This week on You've Never Seen That, Lost in Space!
From Atlanta, Fulton.
But one objective.
The color I see. Then you maintain the status.
December 7th, 9th.
You never seen that! You never seen that!
Welcome back to another episode of the You've Never Seen That podcast. This is the show where two dudes watch a random episode of a random TV show that they've never seen before, and then we discuss the plot, the characters, the family surrounding it.
Good enough?
Oh boy, haven't done this in a while. Who
Been
am
a minute for ya.
It is, as always, the man with the sexy voice, your boy Bell.
And as always, next to you, I am... the Reverend Dr. Michael Haas.
Those of
Look
you
at that.
watching the
For
video
people-
format,
You realize
Hey-o.
we got mugs. We have mugs with our faces on them now. This is surprisingly the first time this has happened in my life.
this
but,
is much more enjoyable for us than it probably is for
it
you.
really is. Well, I hope they appreciate it to some degree, in the video format at least. I would buy this if I were selling this. We should sell this.
Welcome to the show.
Hey, wait, hold on. Before we do that,
Sure.
is this technically a mug shot? 'Cause it's my picture on a. It's on a mug.
I mean, sure.
This is the show where two dudes watch a random episode of a random. I figure we could just. Yeah, all right.
We watched the.
Netflix original series.
Does this count as a Netflix original series?
I think it does.
It does, but I mean,
Because
like,
wasn't that one episode, that
it's
one
a-
season of Arrested Development was also considered a Netflix original series?
yeah,
I think if that one counts, this one counts.
this is a Netflix original adaptation series
Sure, yeah, that works.
called Lost in Space.
The Lost in Space, like that's what they used to. That was like back in the '60s, because that's what this came from.
I so badly wanted to start with previously on Lost in Space.
Previously on Lost
Parentheses.
in space.
In space.
Protracted prose.
I was actually pretty excited to
Pretty
watch
hyped.
this.
Yeah, pretty hyped.
I know that this is based on an original franchise or
this is
original. What would you call it? A
Property
called Lost in Space,
Lost in Space.
which I don't know anything about.
It is a. This is like a remake of a remake of a remake.
It's like what's the Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga
Nope.
in A Star Is Born, like that, because they used to do the A Star Is Born has been made like 17 times.
Yeah, it's more like that. So
This show is actually just like A Star Is Born.
yeah, yep. Even up to the point where Lady Gaga dies.
Bradley Cooper dies.
I don't know. I've never seen
Actually,
it. Wow, really?
Bleep that. Wait, what?
I've never seen it. So even if we believe it, you have now ruined it.
Wait,
For me, I've never seen that.
She dies?
Yeah, it's the main theme of the. Somebody dies.
Well, shit, dude.
Bradley
I know.
Cooper. Bradley Cooper dies.
No, but
Anyway, what were you saying?
I was saying that this was originally a TV series It ran from 1965 to 1968 on CBS. Characters Welcome. Pew, pew, pew. I don't know if what's the
1968.
Was that their
so,
slogan?
I was.
How old was I?
Let's see, 68.
I was negative a lot.
Okay, how did they? Have you ever watched like space sci-fi stuff from
Yo,
like the 60s and
It's
70s?
even from the 70s. It's terrible. Let alone I haven't seen it from
So
the 60s.
I'm very excited for the new Dune movie, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've read the Dune books or are familiar with the Dune.
No, I'm just a big
franchise.
fan of sand.
Let me tell you, the two things that people
know about that they know about me. Big fan of.
I can't even get through that joke.
Hey, real quick, Lost in Space was then and later a movie. So it was the 68
And
show.
then the show and
Then
then
it was
the
a
movie,
movie
and then
in
Netflix.
98. I didn't know this. You know who was in the movie? Matt LeBlanc.
Ooh.
Matt LeBlanc was apparently in that movie.
This is post Friends?
It would have to. It came
Or
out.
during
It came out
Friends.
in '98, so it would have been during Friends, wasn't it? Oh, he
Can
is
we
menacing.
can we get a check on when
Friends
the
ended?
Friends ended? Back to
I
my
think
point.
was it '99?
So Dune is coming out in the next couple months.
Yes.
I tried to watch the original Dune.
Ooh, tough. Feel like that
I-
sounds like a tough sell, and I haven't even seen it.
2004. So this was during.
Yeah, this was
Friends.
during Friends.
We're making you do a lot of work. Can we get a check on
The original Dune,
Dune
series, the original Dune.
I tried watching it. It's directed by David Fincher. David Fincher
Wait.
is like
David Fincher? Oh nope, sorry.
David Fincher is he's like his brain is just like always on drugs. Like I
Yeah.
don't understand. But I watched that movie and I'm like,
Dune came out in 2000.
there's one that's I think earlier than that.
21 years ago? Wow, that's crazy.
There's one that's earlier than that.
So the
80s.
Dune is a remake of a remake?
The David Fincher version. Anyway, the practical effects on that are like
terrible.
It's like laughably bad. Like I couldn't get through 20 minutes of this movie because it's like there's a scene where they have,
Not David Lynch. That's a
Wait.
different person.
David Lynch. What did I say? David Fincher.
David Fincher?
Those are two different people.
They're two different people.
David Fincher and David Lynch. We know you're listeners. I apologize.
Yeah, long time friends of the show.
But so
Ever since the Twin
there's
Peaks
a
episode.
scene. There's a scene in the original Dune movie, 1984,
1984, yeah.
where what's his the guy that plays Xavier from the X-Men,
Patrick Stewart?
Patrick Stewart comes out.
I was halfway. You were doing the bald motion, and I was halfway down a Vin Diesel XXX Legend of Xander Kane.
Xander Cage.
Return of Xander Cage. Sorry.
So he comes out and he tells everyone that they need to put on their armor.
Yeah.
And it looks like they just put on like
Cardboard.
and they're just like "Yerp," and they put on these like fake cardboard arms, and that's like
I'm not gonna lie. I really want to Google this right now and watch this scene. And
And,
I know that makes like here everyone listening and watching. Wait for 3.5 minutes while I
here's
observe this.
Here's the thing, like the practical effects on that version of Dune. I don't know if it was like low budget or what, but it is.
No, that just so producer Josh, for people who no one can see producer
one can
Josh
see
but
producer
us.
Josh.
He has pulled up a still
actually,
of the
fun
armor.
fact, no one's ever seen.
No one's
producer
ever
Josh
seen producer Josh
besides us.
Fun nerve fact: we have a what is it? When you say 1,000 Twitter followers, and we'll show producer Josh's face, or
that was more fun than the other one.
yeah, I don't remember what it was. But anyway, he's pulled up the still for us, and it looks very, very much like.
The costumes are bad.
To be fair, that looks like Star Trek, though. That
Sting
looks.
was in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is.
It's got a really good. I don't know. This is not a Dune episode.
No.
We'll full circle get back to Lost in Space.
Oh right, Lost in Space, not Dune.
My point is, the practical effects and special effects in this version of Dune are so bad, and like, for those of you who are familiar with Dune, like it is very fantastical and like epic.
Yeah,
and,
it's a sci-fi fantasy.
and
thriller.
so like the things that they do to portray like how fantastical things are like
is that Bowie?
really bad. But then you get show movies like actually
it's Sting the musician,
Hey.
not Sting the wrestler.
ready for this transition?
Yeah, let's see it.
Then you get
Wow, look at that armored up cod piece.
Then you get films like
Yeah.
Jurassic Park.
Ah.
And the special effects in Jurassic Park and the practical effects in Jurassic Park are incredible. Like
They hold up so well
now.
It's like it's the same way with like Lord of the Rings. It's like watching Lord of the Rings.
So the reason why I bring up Jurassic Park.
Do you know why it holds up so well? It's because it's been graced.
Boy.
It's been graced by the magic and Laura of Dernism.
For those of you who are new listeners,
Welcome. Welcome. This is now a podcast about.
Actually, for those of you who are regular listeners, we thank you.
Thank you very much for your contributions.
We hope that you have
A moment to talk about our Lord and Savior.
accepted Laura Dern
Laura
into
Dern
your
into your
hearts.
heart, yeah.
New listeners, for those of you who are not familiar, we have
We are
been
converted. We've seen the
fully
light. We
converted
have seen the
Dernists.
light of Dernism. And to indicate our light, we now have this commemorative Laura Dern prayer candle. For those of you listening, go to YouTube and see the light. which is our Laura Dern candle that we now have.
We are gonna slowly transition this entire podcast
Into just Laura Dern
converting
praise.
people into
Dernism.
Dernism. So
Yes. Yeah.
we just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah. For the time being, we now have our patron saint on the actual set. Dern be with you.
And also with you.
I still like Laura be with you, but you know what? We can refine that. Anyway.
Full circle back to
Yeah, so being part of Dernism's only like $80 a month. You guys pay. We'll make it into a cult. Let's just make it a cult.
and now we're reading from The Last Jedi.
From the other Dernist space saga, The Last Jedi.
Okay, but back to Lost in Space.
Yeah.
This show looks fucking awesome.
The one we watched.
The one we watch looks amazing.
It looks so much better. You know
Some
what's
of
funny,
the-
though? I feel like maybe they took, speaking of our Lord and Savior, I think maybe they took the CGI raptors from... They were like, wow, we
That-
did such a good job on Jurassic Park. They just took it and put it in Lost in
that
Space.
scene was awesome.
It was. It was
the,
really
like,
good.
The there's a bunch of like aerial shots that we get,
Oh, yeah, like drone footage.
and I'm like, this is
You know what?
so cool.
It's crazy to think about how much technology has changed because like those types of shots in like a 1984 Dune, you could have only done them with a crane. So to get that like crane shot on that like desert scape that they did would have been such a bitch.
we could literally
It would have cost so much money.
we could film 1984's Dune on our phones.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There's like
this is literally on a phone and it's such better quality.
There's like an app to like make your background look. We're in space. I'm sure Josh has put space behind us.
I
by
hope
now.
he has. We need a green screen so we can put space behind us.
So let's before we get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
Let's pump let's pump the brakes.
Yes.
Let's dive into how we normally start.
We watched
What was? I jumped too far ahead.
Yeah, no, we watched season 2.
Probably should tell people what we did.
We watched season 2, episode 5, which is entitled Run.
Correct.
I lost my shit earlier because the still image for it on the IMDb is just Judy running.
I have notes.
It's-
When we get to the
We'll get to the
when we get to that part. Oh, I am excited.
we read we read the description every week. Last week we read it for this episode, and it was like it
is
seemed
that
intriguing.
why it's called Reddit?
Oh my god! Wow, we are just learning so much here.
Oh boy.
You know what? You know why we realize that? Because we've committed our hearts and souls to our Lord and Savior, Laura Dern.
Anyway, you were saying.
I was saying, it's entitled Run, and we read the description, and it's like John is in some dire straits, and there's this mysterious something, and it was very much like a teaser trailer, like, oh yeah, I'm interested in that. A lot of running, a lot of Forrest Gump in space on this one.
I will. I'll save it for when we get to the actual plot.
Sure,
but there's a specific moment.
What more plot do you need? It's called Run,
Right.
And they run.
We briefly touched on it in the beginning here. You know, obviously this is based off of a kind of long-standing,
franchise.
existing franchise.
Yeah.
Was this a book before it was a show? Or?
I'd believe it if you told me. Although
it-
1968 was really 65 to 68 was really that like sci-fi explosion with like original Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah.
I guess that was a little bit later still. But like you have like Ray Bradbury's Martian Chronicles, Lost in Space. Like it was really a big like sci-fi envisioning.
So what was? This is where the. What did we know?
What did we know? I'm hoping that like a little graphic appears when I say that.
I obviously knew that it was based off of an existing franchise.
Property, yep.
Property.
Yeah, we knew that.
Didn't know what that was.
Right. We had a hint that it was probably called Lost in Space.
I didn't realize that this was the third iteration of.
Yeah.
Because you said there was the 60s, which was the original, the 90s, which was
Just the movie.
was the movie, and
Yeah.
then now it's
Right.
in mid 2000s.
Yeah.
Um,
Which is weird because I didn't see Drake in this.
I actually
That's a Degrassi Next Generation joke that I don't know if anyone's gonna get that one.
I actually thought that this was a movie when it first dropped on Netflix.
Oh, so you thought it was like a Netflix original movie?
Yeah,
Just
and
like
then-
what was that Netflix original movie that was terrible but good at the same time? Had Will Smith in it. It was a fantasy cop drama.
yeah, it was.
What was it called?
It was Bright.
Yes,
It was called
It was
Bright.
called Bright. Yeah.
Never saw it.
I saw it I saw it, and it was. It looked like it was someone's senior project with $100 million budget, and I'm pretty sure that's exactly what it was.
I don't think a lot of people watched that.
Bright? I
Yeah.
think it was actually reviewed fairly well.
I just remember there was a specific scene where like he's hiding behind a cop. His cop buddy is an ogre, and I was like, okay.
He's an orc. Wow.
27%.
27% on the thermometer, but
Oh,
the
yeah.
audience loved it.
Yeah.
The fuck do they know? I hope a lot, and I
so-
hope they like our show.
I mean, other than that, like I didn't really know what. You can kind of glean from the title of
Yeah.
the show that they are
So-
in space and
B,
don't know where they are.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
What about you?
Um,
Like how are you? That's what I want to know.
you know, good. We got new mugs. We got a Laura Dern candle. We got a new for people who don't know, if we sound better, it's because we made some behind the scenes upgrades.
Right.
And I'm feeling pretty good about it. Feeling pretty good. As far as Lost in Space goes, I was traumatized by the 1998 movie of the same title.
have you seen it?
Yeah, not only have I seen it, but it is traumatic.
Weird.
You know how? Okay, so I don't want to jump too far ahead, but there's a moment in our episode where it's like, what's gonna happen? You're really nervous for this character. It happens in a much more serious tone, but I didn't feel that way, so I have to downplay it by singing about it.
Yeah.
But you know the scene I'm talking about, right? And you get
I
it's
sure
super
do.
emotional and super intense. There is a scene in the original Lost in Space movie that is similar, and it is very, very intense, where they're like being monster chased essentially. And I was traumatized by it because I was sleeping over at a friend's house, and it was very traumatizing. So the whole danger, Will Robinson.
It looks like the 90s version did not do very well.
No, it was akin to the 90s Godzilla.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Is that,
what-
is that Broderick?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what that movie was to the Godzilla franchise, this movie was to Lost in Space. But it was traumatizing enough that I remember watching the movie and being like, I don't like Lost in Space.
So you would have been like 10?
98? Yeah. Yep.
10?
I think I saw it. I think I saw it like a year or two after it came out, because I'm pretty sure the friend I was staying
Yeah.
at, we went to the Blockbuster, which actually I think was the video update for us.
And I'm sorry. And what is that?
It's the mail, post office, video cassette.
So,
I'm saying words that no longer mean anything to people.
I
I can only hope to some degree there are some maybe kids in their young teens who like our podcast who are listening and going, Block?
Well, we know that our
Blockbuster?
demographic is primarily Gen Zers and also TV show runners. Those
Yeah,
are the only two
yeah,
people
that's
that
it.
watch.
Hollywood A-listers, friends of the show,
And then Gen Z.
and then Gen Zers and showrunners.
That's for the video people.
People,
So you kind of knew more, obviously more than I did.
I knew that. Well, yes, that's it. Josh just pulled it up. Yes, that is exactly what it was.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So producer Josh found the exact clip of the monster reveal, and it was terrifying when I was 12 years old.
You can go ahead and take that off the screen now.
Yeah.
Oh, or you can
Or
zoom
enlarge
in.
it. Enlarge it. And the thing is, that was an alien. That was a chest burster type scene.
I didn't enjoy that.
No, exactly. No. And I was 11, maybe 12.
And I've seen fucked up stuff on movies, but that was
yeah. You know what? You know why?
that
'Cause
was
it sits-
that was their entire VFX. VFX
it was.
budget.
That's the whole thing. And you know what? It sits in the back of your brain because it's the same thing as the bitey guy from the Shadow Temple in Legend of Zelda. And
Oh,
we all
wow.
and
Yeah.
and we all hate that guy too. We don't know why we hate that guy, but we all hate that
No,
guy.
we know why.
To specify Ocarina of Time.
What did I say?
You just said Legend of Zelda.
Ocarina.
Shadow Temple in the Ocarina of Time, Legend of Zelda. Yes, correct. And actually, if we could get a picture of that guy down here so people can actually be like, yeah, fuck that guy. I would appreciate that.
So you kind of jumped into this knowing a little more than I did.
I knew that they were lost in space, which was the preface.
Yeah.
And then I actually knew some of the characters. Like I knew it was a family.
Right.
I knew that because in the movie it's just the family, right?
Okay.
It's like the family and then the robot that Will Robinson has the connection to in our episode.
That was kind of my question is like, how do they...
The original TV series and then the movie were literally just like, it's one spaceship trying to get from Earth to Alpha Centauri, and then the ship gets lost and they're
'Cause
trying to get back.
My question was, how do they make an entire
Series.
TV series based off of a movie, but
Yes.
the movie was also based off a previous series,
Yeah.
which
So
I think was based off of a book.
I'm pretty sure the original series was like a serial type thing, kind of like Star Trek The Next Generation, where like there's a loose overarching theme. In this case, it was family tries to get to somewhere in
Yeah.
space, and then they have all these detours and roadblocks and everything, right? Similar to what like The Next Generation had for Star Wars. And then this show, I didn't know it was like there's a whole colony that's lost in space.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, I had a lot of questions going in.
I knew there was still a questionable relationship between a robot and a young boy.
Which we get at the end of this.
Yeah, we get it. We get that at the end of this.
My
yep.
biggest question, which obviously gets answered now, is like, when does this take place? Apparently, it takes place
30 years in the future.
Question for you:
Yeah.
do you think in 30 years that this is? I mean, we're already.
When did this come out? Are we already like 10 years into that 30 years?
No. This was 2017.
No.
Well, season 2 I think was like 2019.
No way. Really?
Yeah, this is like.
I thought this was way earlier.
This is fairly new. 2019.
2019.
This
Wow.
is fairly new.
Oh, okay.
I
I thought this was like one of the first Netflix original series.
We are already sending billionaires into space now.
Yeah.
We're already like talking about colonizing other planets.
Yeah. This,
Very, very early stages of
our
that.
episode made it sound like we've already in this show we've already colonized our solar system.
Yeah.
Because they talk about transports to Jupiter and like the colony on Mars.
Question for you:
Yeah.
would you go? In the future, 30 years from now, they're like, "Hey, we want to get the first batch of people."
Okay.
I guess
Okay.
I guess in 30 years you'd be 50, so
Yeah.
like we'd be 60 actually.
Yeah, we'd be closer to 60. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Okay. Here's the thing. Would I go as one of the first people? Absolutely not. Once they've really worked out the kinks, would I go? Yeah, totally.
I don't think I would go.
There's a whole big different. Like, have you ever seen a picture of like the sun from Mars? Like the sun.
You're not supposed to look at the sun.
You've never seen that?
I've never
You've never seen that?
because you're not supposed to look at it.
No, they have goggles that you can put on. And
Okay.
so Josh is pulling up a picture for you, Belle. That's what the sun. That's. No, don't worry. It's a CGI rendering. It's not an actual picture. It's CGI. It's just CGI rendering. That's how bright the sun would be on Mars. It is not very bright. It is significantly smaller and less bright than our.
Mars is MVEM, J Sun, Pluto, MVEM, fourth planet.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
It is only one planet away, but it is significantly less bright than us, and I really don't think I would enjoy that.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't even know what's in the ocean. I'm not going to Mars.
We don't even, let alone Mars oceans. Let alone Frank Ocean.
I just got.
What's in that guy? Something's got to keep pumping out those hits.
Let's talk about the audience of the show.
Yeah. Who is the
So,
show for?
Do you think that there is a older demographic who was fans of this property and is excited for this kind of a reboot? Or do you think it's nerdy sci-fi people like us? Do you think it's a mix? Like, where do you think the audience lands on
You want me to be completely honest how I think this show came about?
Actually, if you could just lie.
Okay, then yeah, I think longtime friend of the
just-
show, Chuck Lorre. No, I completely. I was asking you how deeply you want me to go into this, because what I think happened was I think Netflix was like, "Shit, we got to put out original content, but we can't pay a lot in licensing fees."
Okay.
Are there any mildly interesting concepts that haven't done well in the last 40 years we can appropriate and then they found Lost in Space. And then I think what they said was, wow, we can do so much with the technological advancements that we've had since this show came out in the 60s. And they said, no. Make it look really cool, but make the writing terrible. They were like, make the writing...
I don't think it's that bad.
They were like, make the writing and acting appeal to a Chuck Lorre audience, and then make it look like people who go see Jurassic Park.
I think the decisions to make like kind of bad jokes and very, very cliche tropes is on purpose because it's supposed to be
too.
kind of like this homage to early 90s, early 80s television, right?
I would think more than anything, I said that because for some reason I thought this was one of the like first Netflix original series. And I thought that, I figured that Netflix was like, we need to cast as wide of a net as we can.
Okay.
And so I thought that they were like I think their whole point here was to capitalize, to make it interestingly enough visually to appeal to people who were born into streaming.
Right.
But it was also a concept and a property and a story that was old enough to maybe pull in people who were early adopters who might be older. And then make it interesting enough that any young adult who bobbles their way into this would be like, yeah, I'll watch it.
So
I think the demographic is really going to be like anyone ages like, I would say anyone ages 12 to 55.
yeah, I mean, I think it's also a big net as well.
Yeah.
Also, so the 90s internet sucks, huh?
Yeah, the
Because I'm
internet,
just looking at all the websites that Josh is pulling up, and I'm like,
internet in the 90s was,
Ooh.
yeah, it was rough.
those web pages are bad. I think that Lost in Space, when it came out in the 60s, made a big enough splash to where there are people like me who might not know anything about the actual property,
Right.
but at least know the name.
Yeah.
Like I've heard Lost in Space.
Okay.
Never knew what it was about.
So here you go.
So I think it made like a big enough cultural impact to where, like, I mean, obviously they did a movie and then another show and then another show.
Yeah.
So
Well, here, just so you know, I wasn't wrong. It was technically the 4th Netflix original series. Stranger Things, The Crown, Ozark, then Lost in Space.
not the first, but like, you mean, no, that's
Among the first of the Netflix original series is.
what? No,
Stranger Things was the first Netflix original series.
I would say Orange is the New Black, which
According
is
to
like
this.
way earlier.
Was Orange is the New Black a Netflix original?
Sure was.
Was it really?
Unless it was
Wikipedia could be
based
wrong.
off
It
of-
is Wikipedia is the least
Oh, boy.
reliable source on the internet. So
it could
I'm
have
just-
been based off a book. I don't know. What? But I agree. A pretty big demographic. There's nothing in this. I think this is like what's it rated? The T for teen? I don't know. It's not. There's no
Yeah.
swearing. There's no.
Oh man, you're right. Orange is the New Black premiered on 2013.
Yeah, it was like way early. But there's no overt swearing or violence.
Oh, okay.
or gore.
Orange is the New Black was created by Lionsgate for Netflix. Stranger Things was the first wholly Netflix created, produced, owned, like
maybe.
completely Netflix original.
But anyway, back to my point. I think, for who this is for, like, I would even say that this could potentially be for me. Like, I'm a dork.
absolutely,
I thought this was like super entertaining. Jumping in
Well,
at
it's very clearly for anyone who's a sci-fi fan.
jumping in at a random point where I don't know what's going on. Like,
Yeah.
Generally, when we do this, it's very difficult because we either get lost in space.
in space.
We either get lost really quickly and it's like hard to kind of focus, or we get bored because we
Yeah.
don't know what's going on. I found myself like pretty engaged into this episode,
I think
despite not knowing
that's why
much.
That's why I think it may have been on purpose to like appeal to a wider demographic, because like we didn't know anything.
The younger demographic can follow this. And,
Yeah,
you know.
or you could, your kid could be like, I like Lost in Space, and you could be like, what are you watching? And then you could pick it up at any point and watch it. And I think it was really meant for that.
I was actually also surprised. Segue to the next section. The character.
It looks like producer Josh is getting us confirmation. What is that? We can't read that. What is that?
Netflix pre-release
He has it.
House of Cards. Oh, yeah.
First
yeah,
original
yeah.
House of Cards.
The character list, I was surprised was really manageable. I
Yeah.
thought that this was going to be like, there's 6 ship crew members, and there's 17 medical people, and there's 18 researchers. But there was like,
I felt like it both was and wasn't, because we have the core, like we have the Robinson
the
family.
Robinsons.
And that makes up the core of it, but then we also have like
But there
doctor
wasn't
this guy.
But there wasn't
and
even too many of those
random
people.
that guy and teacher this guy and
Like there wasn't that many people that
yeah
mattered in this episode.
Oh, by the way, this did get renewed for
Season 3?
a final season 3. Yeah.
Well, let's break down the cast really quick. Obviously, we know that this is about the Robinson family.
Yeah.
The Robinsons are Maureen and John, who are the parents. Their kids are Will and Penny.
Will and Penny are their biological kids.
Yep. And then they have adopted a daughter named Judy. And that's kind of
it's Will and Penny's stepsister? Or half sister.
Yeah. And so that's kind of the core of this family.
Yeah.
I think Penny's the Judy's the oldest.
Yeah.
Wait, Penny's the oldest?
Judy is the oldest.
Judy,
It's
Penny,
Judy
Will.
Pennywell, yeah. Which, okay, real quick, can we do something?
I'll allow it.
I want you to recast the Robinson family for me with A-listers.
Oh no. I like this cast.
Okay, but are you telling me the mom is not Amy Adams and the dad is totally not the guy that plays Dr. Cox, and then Judy is not Zendaya, and Penny is not Sophie Turner,
I mean, sure.
and then Will is young Sheldon?
Send it to the people.
Right? I mean, come on. It was
And have them redo the last two seasons.
remake the remake just for us. Longtime friend of the show, Amy Adams, will sign on for this.
I have one complaint about this episode.
Yeah.
We meet a guy named Don West.
Do we?
We meet a guy named Don West. He's a hot scientist. He has 2 lines, and we don't see him again.
Oh, yeah, he is a hot scientist.
He's a hot guy. We only see him for 2 seconds.
But who's he talking to? June Harris?
I would even go as far to say that he's a hunk.
He was. We didn't see him without a shirt on, but he was hunkish.
That is actually
that's
the bar of
He was hunky.
like, are you or are you not a hunk? Is we have to see you without a shirt.
Yeah. And here's a question for you. I'm curious. Adam Levine, hunky or not? Donald Glover, hunky or not?
There was a meme of you've probably seen that.
I've probably seen that.
Of Adam Levine without a shirt on, side by side next to a Chipotle bag, because
yes,
they
yep.
look the same.
Yeah, oh, okay.
Don West and Ava, which we also only meet one time. In that scene.
Okay, yeah, I know who June Harris is. That's Ava. Yeah. Okay.
Ava and Don are like the scientists.
Yeah.
They are kind of like the lab techs who are
hunky.
I guess to describe the plot a little bit, they're kind of like taking samples from where they are and researching them.
Yeah, because they're on a random planet.
Right. We have
they're on a random planet in a random solar system that they've never seen
never
before.
been before.
They've never been before, and they're trying to identify the soil, the atmosphere, and there it is, Adam Levine in a Chipotle bag.
Soil, the atmosphere, and the
And
aliens
surrounding the aliens surrounding them. Well, that.
Oh, that was a good one.
Can we just cut it? Final thoughts. Bang, bang, banging. People bang. People die. I thought it was great. We're good. We can wrap it up right now.
Next week we're watching Young Sheldon.
Young Shelton. Young Blake Shelton.
Oh,
yike.
We meet VJ and Victor.
Yes.
VJ is the son of Victor.
Wait.
Victor is on the kind of logistical team. We only meet him once.
Do we? Who is he? I don't.
We meet him once in passing.
Where do we see him?
In the hallway, really quickly.
Yeah.
It's like
okay.
it's like very quickly. But
Yeah.
He seems to be kind of a big part of this.
Yeah, he's one of like the head honchos, if you will.
There's another person named Ben Adler. Ben Adler is the British hot guy who is on the ship at the end with
the
mom.
Also, for the record, we recast him as Jude Law.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Are you writing this down so we can email the creators of Lost in
I was thinking more Hiddleston.
Oh, okay. That's I'm trying to like 1-for-1 cast, but I like that
That's
choice.
actually an upgrade, I believe.
Yeah, I like that choice better.
Although,
I'm looking at his IMDb photo, and
no-
I see Hiddleston right away.
no offense to J.J. Field.
yeah, no, none to JJ Field
You
or
were-
any
you
of
were-
these people.
you were
We're
excellent.
We're not. Yeah.
We also meet.
But if we're doing that, I'm replacing Ignacio with Donald Glover just for fun.
Ignacio is Don West. We meet another person named Dr. Smith. She plays a pretty big role in this show, and I think she has a very pivotal character in this series. Dr. Smith is played by Parker Posey, who is like a very, very well-known actress.
Yes,
she's been
and-
in a ton of stuff. She's also like a 90s actor.
And she's listed as she's listed as June Harris.
Okay.
So
we'll
that-
get into that because
we don't
there's a moment
know.
at the end of this episode
Yeah.
where we find out that she is going as Dr. Smith, but she used to be June Harris,
Yeah.
which we don't know what that means, but it apparently means something.
According to Penny, it's not a good thing.
Right.
Being June Harris is not a good thing.
And then the last kind of a couple characters that we really only briefly see is we meet Mr. Jackson, who is the teacher.
I'm sorry, Mr. Jackson.
The kids on the spaceship go to school. Mr. Jackson is just one of the teachers.
teacher,
He teaches.
I have a
he
note
teaches
about him.
Penny.
I have a note about him that can we just jump to it right now?
Sure.
How come even 30 years in the future, light years in space, teachers still look like liberal cucks? Like I said it that way just to make you laugh, but like he's like very much like everyone's wearing like utilitarian like jumpsuits and he's wearing like a fucking cardigan.
He's got pens in his pocket.
He's got like elbow patches on his sleeves, and I was like, so even on a utilitarian space where they're like everything has a purpose, he's
they were also using
my
like
sweater.
like an old projector.
Yeah.
And I'm like, huh?
Yeah,
It's like 2040. What are you doing?
We can in theory we can travel light years to Alpha Centauri. However,
Does anybody know where I can plug in this projector?
thank God I have my wrist comm. Oh no, it's low battery. Better plug it into my Apple Lightning device. Like it's like they're still using that tech.
There's a iPod dock.
There's a dock. It's the one with the speakers on the side. And it just that's a very specific reference that only a certain few people that listen to us will probably get.
All of our Gen Zers.
There's an age range.
Don't know it's. Well, let's hop into the plot quick.
Yeah. How many plots did you get out of this?
Kind of two.
Yeah, I kind of really only got
had two.
Yeah.
There are other things that happen throughout, but
Yeah.
the two would be
I guess I got 3, but I thought one of them was like the plot.
one of them is Penny trying to figure out what's up with Dr. Smith.
Yes. Yeah.
We know that Dr. Smith is acting shady.
Yeah.
Ain't calling me baby.
Yeah.
What's,
What else?
What's the next line of that song?
Why the sudden change?
Why the sudden
That's what
change?
she's trying to ask. Yeah.
Damn it! I couldn't think of the third
she's-
line. It turns out she's just trying to pay her bills.
I was just gonna say, can you imagine the door slides open and and Penny is like,
That's a Destiny's Child reference.
"Why you acting shady? Why the sudden change?" And then she gets up because she's using a fake name, and she's like, "Say my name."
Oh, that's a totally different song.
Yeah, you went to Bill's. I don't know why.
Say My Name and Bills are not the same
Yeah,
song.
she's like, "Say my name," and then Penny's like, "You're a bugaboo." You bugging what? You bugging who? You bugging me. And don't you see it ain't cool.
Oh, man. I messed up that third line.
I was hoping if we said that, there would be suddenly a Destiny's Child candle would appear next to the other one.
Yes.
No, but I'm pretty sure YouTube's going to cancel us soon.
Yeah, that's true. There's
Beyonce, Michelle, and
Laura Dern. I can't remember. No one remembers the third member of Destiny's Child, but they were magic.
The kind of main plot to this one is, oddly enough, Judy goes for a run.
She goes for a run. Goes for a nice jog.
Title of the episode.
Run.
So,
Did they spend all their money on the VFX and they couldn't get that one?
I have
AWOL Nation
I
song?
have
You
notes
got- okay.
actually. Previously on Lost. in space.
Yeah.
My first question was
You know what? I had a third plot.
okay.
The third plot is Will's breaking up with a robot, maybe? That seemed to be like
I don't
the
know.
over...
I don't know the significance of the robot.
Neither do I, but I mean, I think it's the Danger Will Robinson robot, but like
That's what that is.
yeah, this is the robot, and that's
danger.
Will Robinson. Yeah, that's wow, really?
That's the famous
The famous, very
line
famous
from the show.
Yeah.
Are you being real right now?
100% just put that together now.
All right, while we're on the topic of revelations, I'm gonna hit you guys with one. Chernobyl? That really happened? I knew that one.
Wow.
You really didn't know Danger
am
Will
I-
Robinson?
Am I dumb?
I would want to say that like you're too old, you wouldn't understand it or something, or like this, but like
I just now put it together.
So just so you know, that phrase has collectively been bouncing around like cultural relevancy for like literally 70 years.
I know the reference.
60 years.
Now I know that it's from.
Yeah, Lost in Space.
I know we're at 39 minutes, but we should probably just start over.
Yeah, probably just start it over. Yeah.
All right.
Welcome back to a.
Okay.
I
so
can't believe.
my first note is, which I have now know the answer, but my first note is, what year is it?
Yes.
This episode does a series of flashbacks where we see a young Judy,
Yeah, we start on. Yeah.
and how far back do you think the flashbacks is? I think the flashbacks would be from
Well, the
now,
flashbacks-
like
Yeah.
15 years.
Well, so the question we have to answer here is how old is Judy
I think
in the show?
I think we get that. We learn that she's 18.
No, in the current timeline.
18.
On the on the alien planet.
Yeah, I think she's 18.
Okay, so if she's 18, then we know that the flashbacks seem to take place from like
Elementary school.
Elementary school, so probably from like ages like 8 to 18. It's probably like
So
a 10 years. 10 years
So
of
from
flashbacks.
now, it's 20 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that makes sense because you can kind of see that there's like some stuff that looks like a little future-y, but it's not like
Yeah.
like when in shows like in the 90s where they're like the year is 2020 and there's like flying spaceships and cars and
Yeah,
like
Futurama.
yeah.
You know what's funny is Futurama put it out at the year 3000, and I wonder how right they're going to be.
That's a good point. So we know that there is a time jump back and forth, and we get lots of references of Judy's past, which kind of informs why she's running.
Right.
The title of the episode.
Yeah. It all leads up to Judy running and why.
So I guess we should probably explain the second plot a little bit as well. She's running.
Judy goes for a run.
She's running because John, who is her dad,
Her adopted father.
dad,
Yeah.
is he's on like the planet's drill site. But we don't know
so they're
how he got stuck.
They're drilling a well, and I think it's probably for water. That would make sense. But we don't know because it's a huge ass well.
We also don't know what planet they're on.
Yeah.
But
They don't know what planet they're on.
Oh yeah, because they're
Lost.
Yeah. He's stuck in this tube.
Yeah.
And then the guy at the top goes, "You're just gotta hang on for 4 hours."
Here's the thing.
He just says, "Just
yeah.
a quick 4 hours. We'll get you out of there."
Here's the thing, right? So I had this is immediately where I kind of fell off the Lost in Space bandwagon. Was he was like, "Hang on for 4 hours," and I was like, first of all, that's fucked up. Can't you like throw him a rope or something?
That's what I was
like, dude, just tie it around your waist and let me hang here for 4 hours. But he's like, you have to hang on for 4 hours. And then John looks down to build suspense. And it very much implies that if he falls, he's gonna die. And he's just hanging on to this, like, rail.
Yeah.
Which I don't... You would think that he would be like, well, A, throw me a rope. Or B, I guess I'll start climbing down so if I fall, it's not as bad.
So we set this up that Judy is on the main base camp.
Yeah.
And she's not several hours.
Straight up, I'm telling you, the aliens look just like the Velociraptors from...
They do.
Yeah, and
So
producer
Judy
Josh pulled it
is,
up.
you would say, what, like 2 hours from the drill site.
She is it. We know the distance, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And it seems like driving, it would probably only be like 20 minutes.
They've got these wrist things,
Wrist comms
that have like a absurd range.
Yeah.
Because everyone just is able to talk to everybody via these wrist comms.
To be fair, that's not super out there technology.
No.
It's
in
just
30 years, we better have those.
Imagine a cell phone interface that like locked to biometrics for you to unlock, and you just tapped a contact.
If we don't have those in 30 years, I'm gonna be
60.
Yeah. I guess I will be 60.
Yeah.
I probably won't need one. Yeah,
Mine will be a flip wrist.
Imagine us in us in 30 years. Look at that! You've never seen that podcast show where we're still watching shows. God damn it!
This week on You've Never Seen That, Lost in Space.
Old Sheldon.
It's just the messy divorce of Blake Shelton and Greg Stefani. Oh, that's a good one. We gotta write that one down.
Will you write that down?
Someone write that one down. Old Shelton.
Sheldon.
All right.
Okay.
Judy's going for a run.
So she is in communication with John the whole time, and then he falls.
He falls, yeah.
And the metal through the leg.
No, it's through his like side.
Metal through his side.
Yep, there we go.
And so she's constantly checking up on him, checking in his vitals and making sure that he won't, die.
Yeah, and this is a big subplot that shows up. Is there's some kind of alien disorder or alien contamination, some maybe even contagion, that causes metal to like corrode almost instantly.
So she very easily convinces one of the people on the base camp to let her take this vehicle.
Right. So they have
And
the metal. They have the metal infection, and like literally, they locked it. They go into lockdown, and she is literally just like, "I need to go," and he was like, "Sorry, protocol," and she was
So-
like, "But I need," and he's like, "Okay."
So we mentioned earlier about how there are moments where it's like there are these kind of plot points that are sort of tropey and a little predictable. I kind of liked it. It made the show a little like fun, but it's definitely that scene where it's like, but I have to, and he just goes, well, make it quick kind of thing,
Yeah.
like she didn't even have to try that hard, and he lets her take it. Well, turns out she's not equipped to drive this thing.
No, she is.
Well, she is, but she crashes it very quickly.
Well, she crashes it because of the metal infection.
Right.
Yeah.
But she's, that's half the reason why they didn't want her to go out on her own.
Right.
We also learned that there's like a security perimeter that
It keeps out the aliens.
it keeps out the Velociraptor aliens.
We know that there's Velociraptor aliens, which I guess my question is like, are there other aliens?
I would assume so.
But like,
But you would think that there'd be like airborne ones.
Well,
right?
and I like, does this exist? Does this mean that this exists in a world where we go to other planets and there's sentient life, but not intelligent life?
I cannot answer that. I've
Because
only
you-
seen one episode.
That makes sense. Yeah. Yep.
So this is the part that I was just like, this is so funny to me. She crashes the rover.
Yeah.
She gets out. We get a flashback of her learning how to ride a bike.
Yes.
And she rides the bike. It's great. But then she says something along the lines of like, I'm a runner.
Well, so
Or something like that.
yeah, no,
They have the conversation.
yeah,
And she's
better at
established-
running. She doesn't.
She goes,
she's
and I had to pause and I go, oh, she's going to run to him. Because that's the name of the episode.
Oh, okay. All right.
And then
So
I'm like, she establishes that she's 2 hours away, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, she's gonna run for 2 hours.
here's the thing, right? This is I loved this, right? Because she pulls it up and she's like, "Oh no, I am 24 kilometers from my dad. That will take 2 hours." And I was like, "Fuck, what is that in miles?"
Did you make a Google
No,
Google Maps joke?
No, I didn't. but
'Cause I did.
It looked like yeah.
Because there's a part where she realizes, oh, this route is 45 minutes faster.
Waves updated and was
And
like
so the thing is, if she goes the faster route, it's through the
outside of the perimeter
territory,
fence.
the perimeter.
Yeah.
But there's like a Starbucks that's there, and she has to.
You know, is it
Like
There was a crash. There's a crash on eastbound, so she had to.
But I made a
No,
Google.
no.
I made a Google Maps joke because
Well-
she literally like switches it to see what other routes are, and
Yeah.
she clicks on the faster route, and
Yeah.
I'm like, this is just Google Maps. Like,
Yeah, cool looking Google Maps. Well, I thought it was funny because like they're like, oh, 24 kilometers, and I was like, oh, fuck, it's space using metrics. Like, I guess I'll Google it, and I was like, oh, 15 miles, and then they cut back to her, and she's like, Dad, I'm only 15 miles away, and I was like, oh wow.
So-
we get it. Space will use metric because that's the scientific community, and we're dumb Americans.
so the scene where she's running towards him and she runs through like all of the shit and she's being chased by the dinosaurs. I made a note. I was like,
Hey, quick question for you. In these flashbacks, do you wish that John Robinson was your dad?
he's kind of.
He's such a good. He's such a poorly written dad archetype, but when you see it played out, you're like,
He's
wow,
so
that would
lovely.
be
He's a
that's so
lovable dad.
nice.
No offense, Kim Nall. I know you're watching.
Yeah, no, and Fred obviously not, but
Our dads are texting each other right now.
Can you believe this shit?
I made a note. I was like,
your dad texts mine and he's like, the ingratitude, and my dad's like, I've never seen that, and they're like, ha 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 ha. There.
the idea of our dads texting.
They have a podcast where they review our podcast.
Oh, I'm sweating.
And I look at my dad and I'm like, but I'm a better stand-up comedian than a host. And he's like, well, sometimes you have to do things that are hard, even though. And then the title of my episode is stand-up.
Write that down.
Yeah, that's too meta. We'll just.
Um,
I'm gonna go over there.
I made notes. I was like, filming this episode probably sucked because all she does is run. There are several scenes where it's just her running at different speeds from different angles. It's just running. Like, this would have sucked to film.
I actually took a note, and as she starts running, I said, "Oh man, would have been a great time to re-engineer some of those zip-off shorts."
Fun fact, when I was in middle school, I went to the Gap.
Yeah.
And I bought 2 pairs of zip-off shorts.
Yeah.
One in blue, one in gray.
Man,
and
people who are 12 and listen to our podcast
and
have no idea what we're talking about.
And I showed up to school and I swapped the legs. So I wore blue shorts with gray legs.
Oh,
I was so fucking cool.
bananas.
so
Just fucking bonkers.
You are really funny.
I was.
It was at that moment you knew that
the shit.
It was at that moment you knew you were destined to record a low budget podcast in the basement.
Did you say low or no budget?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh. Hey, we made some
she-
investment in
she-
audio quality.
The chase scene with the dinosaurs is actually pretty cool.
Yeah,
this is what
that-
I was talking
that was
about,
actually
where,
pretty- yeah.
where we get like the aerial view
Yeah.
and like she's doing all the parkour and it's like
Yes.
it looks really good.
Yeah.
Um,
I did take a note because we keep getting flashbacks of Judy getting older, and
Yeah.
it's like John, like learning to accept that
Mm-hmm.
she's like getting older, and I did write down though. Damn, seems like a large amount of fatherhood is just watching your kids go in the other direction.
one day we'll find out.
Well, someday.
She eventually gets to him, drops him the shots that he needs to take.
Yeah, epinephrine and
There is a moment in my notes where I wrote down like, is he actually like he gives the death, like he accepts that she's not going to make it, and he like kind of gives the death
Yes,
speech.
yes.
and I bought it.
yeah.
I was like, she's not going to make it.
I have written down here 3 times in my notes because one thing, the like dialogue writing might be really bad, but like the plot development writing,
the acting
really good.
also all of the acting is great.
Yes.
Because I was like, he's.
Well, the girl who plays Penny kind of sucks, but that's okay.
But I was like, oh,
I shouldn't say kind of sucks as if I was in a Netflix original show,
Like-
and I've done better.
I thought he was going to die.
It did seem like he was going to die. I wrote 3 times in my notes, are they actually going to kill him? Because I thought they might.
And I also felt like,
yeah,
okay,
producer Josh.
I couldn't help but think when she threw
Drop-
everything down the tube.
It was going to miss. He was
Yeah,
gonna
what
miss.
if it just
Out of
because it
reach?
came out like
It
really
came out
fast,
super hot.
What if it just shot down another hole? And that was the end of the episode.
It did seem like they
Yeah.
were good, like they might actually kill him though, and I did appreciate that.
well, I also thought it was, season 2. Like we're halfway through season 2. Like it could be a Ned Stark situation where
Right,
like
yeah,
you
very
kill
much.
off a main character.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
she gets to him. She gives him the shots. He makes it out. He's okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Real quick though, can we just talk about in the other plot, the
I was
Penny,
gonna say let's go back to the
Penny
other plot.
Penny and VJ go to school.
Yep.
And they're investigating
Dr.
Dr. Smith.
Yep.
who we know is not Dr. Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And then she throws out like some trash. It's
it's
implied that she like incapacitated one of the like police officers.
Right. So the other thing we talk about is the tropes, right? There is a scene where Penny is following Dr. Smith.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where, like, right when Dr. Smith turns around to see if someone's following her, she, like, hides behind a wall.
Yeah.
And it happens, like, twice.
Yep.
And it's definitely, like, a very popular trope in a lot of TV
absolutely.
movies. And I can't help but feel like it's done.
So
it's done on purpose.
It's done on purpose. And producer Josh has already jumped to something that's in my notes, which is when she dumps out the trash, she throws out her trash.
It's like a bright blue bag.
It's like a bright blue bag, and Penny is gonna go try and find it. And when they get to the trash compactor, it is literally the trash compactor from Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
It is
100%.
There was like a giant pipe.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like
I
wonder if that's done on purpose.
No, it was absolutely done on purpose. I guarantee you, like the fact that it was a trash compactor in space and the walls start closing in, like it was one. And she gets her foot caught, just like the monster grabs Leia's foot. Like it is 100%.
Do you think that this show has other like subtle or not so subtle like homages to other?
Yeah, I'm
sci-fi?
sure. I guarantee you, if we watch the whole thing, we find a Dune reference.
Probably.
Like I'm sure.
So. This is Penny. I wanted to call her Jenny.
Yeah.
Why am I so bad at this show?
You wanted to call her Jenny because all of Judy's storyline is
Penny.
No,
Penny.
Judy's storyline is just Forrest Gump in space
because she's just
running.
She is.
How about that Oreo product placement though?
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Woof.
She is on to Dr. Smith.
Yeah.
Not that she knows exactly what Dr. Smith is up to, but that she's up to something.
Yeah, yeah.
And she kind of ropes in VJ to investigate with her.
Yeah.
And so this whole plot is kind of them tracking down what Dr. Smith threw away and then trying to piece together like what exactly it is that she's up to.
And they find the trash bag.
Well, we know that she's the therapist. She's like the ship's therapist, right?
Yeah, or one of them.
Or one of them.
It sounds like maybe she's what it sounds like from our episode is that the actual, is it June Harris is her name?
June Harris / Dr. Smith.
So June Harris is a wanted criminal from the Alpha Centauri colonies who's like trying to get out, and she fakes it as Dr. Harris or Dr. Smith.
Dr. Smith is her character is also like she's nuts.
Yeah. Yes.
Like she's very like something's
Parker
up.
Posey does a very good job of playing a slightly unstable character.
Yeah.
Who I don't know if they're going to cut my throat or try and sell me quartz crystals. Like, could go either way.
So the I made a really funny note. So the other kind of subplot is that Penny obviously is in love with VJ.
Yeah.
They also have a history. They've kissed before. They were on a different planet, which is where they kissed. And so in my notes, I wrote, "What if we kissed on a different planet?"
What if we?
So stupid.
It's just what if we kissed on the Resolute?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe. No, but maybe. But no.
So, the trash compactor starts to
Compact.
It turns on.
Yeah, it
starts
turns
to
on.
compact. He gets out. She thinks he is abandoning her, but of course he's not. He saves the day.
Here's a question. So there's some really shameless product placement where she's like, "Hey, look, a pack of Oreos."
Right.
Do you think Oreo, like Nabisco, paid for that product placement, or do you think like that's a running joke?
I'm assuming
in
it's running joke.
The show. Or, like I was like that's either A, very very bad product placement, or B, a direct reference and homage.
This kind of subplot ends with them finding the bag. They find a piece of paper that has been torn up in a bunch of sheets. That put together spells out "Curiosity killed the cat."
Yeah.
We don't know what that means. It's just what the paper says. I don't even think that they know what that means.
Well, no, they do know what that means because at the end of it, June Harris, parading as Dr. Smith, shows up to class.
Yeah.
And like she like gives them a veiled threat where she's like, "Curiosity killed the cat. I know you were following me.
Yeah.
Back off." And like there seems to be some history between the two where like they know.
Yeah.
But like Dr. Smith is basically just like, "Leave me alone. Justice is done. I'm getting mine. Get the fuck out. Leave me alone."
So we kind of really glossed over the third subplot very, very quickly. The third subplot is that Maureen and Will and
not Jude Law,
Ben Adler, the three of them are on a ship to another planet.
I think they're on the ship to the planet. I'm pretty sure the Resolute is the ship that goes between Earth and Alpha Centauri.
Yep.
And then they're on a transport down to the surface, which is where Judy and John are.
And now it makes sense because we find out that Will has a robot.
Yes.
And now I understand
Which
why
robot
that's
it is.
important.
Yeah, it's a very important. It's like literally the whole
So,
show.
I feel like we actually got a very pivotable?
I think you meant
Pivotal.
Pivotal, yeah.
Can we
Pivotable.
edit that?
Pivotable
Do you mind
has no. I mean,
Because
no.
you're gonna make me look really dumb, and I don't want them to think I'm dumb.
What if he just like flashes like idiot with confetti? Makes you look really
This is a
dumb.
very pivotal episode.
Yeah. Yep.
Because we get information about the
Yeah, 'cause
infamous robot.
Because I can look at the episode this way or this way.
You're able to pivot.
I'm able to pivot. The episode.
And that's when it ends.
Yeah.
And I was like, now knowing what I know, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this is
Well, so this is actually a really good episode because we also read at the end of it the metal disease spreads to the Resolute.
yeah.
Which I don't know. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but if you're out in space, you're fucked.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
So that's
So
how the
if
episode ends.
if that metal thing eats the whole ship, they're boned.
Real quick,
Yeah.
Bang Bang dead.
Do you think?
I
Bang?
don't know if there's much banging. I do think there's death.
There's some dying. Here's the thing. I wonder if John dies and people are just waiting to figure out how.
I do think that there are some. I think that there has to be a main character that does. I just get that vibe. I don't know who it would be. It could be one of the people that we only briefly see in this episode, but I don't think any of the Robinsons die. Maybe John.
I think if anyone, it's going to be John, and I think that's like a nope status alive. He is still alive, so it's not him.
Don't spoil it.
I'm just doing. Season 3 hasn't come out yet. He could still die.
That's a good point. He could maybe. Yeah. Okay.
Everyone who's alive right now can still die. Question:
I'm sure.
Does Maureen bang Jude Law?
I thought that Ben Adler and Maureen like had a.
It does kind of seem that way.
You get that vibe.
It does kinda seem that way.
unexpected chemistry.
Yeah.
Well, expected chemistry.
Yeah, maybe.
I guess we
There
can
was some implied jazz happening between them.
That's
yeah.
a very old reference. I guess we can kind of just briefly jump into our final thoughts on this show.
Yeah.
Do you want to go first?
Sure, I absolutely do. I think that this show is actually really, really cool. I mean, that's pretty much
I thought you were gonna end it. Oh, you're gonna end it there?
No, I mean that's pretty much it. The writing is a little like the dialogue
actually,
writing.
in my notes, I wrote very cool.
Very cool. Yeah,
interesting.
That's it. We yeah. No, I think the dialogue writing is a little campy, but I think it's
intentional.
It's intentional. So I don't have a problem with it. I think the story writing is really good, and I think it's a cool premise. And I think they really did the due diligence to be like, hey, if we're gonna make a space show about a space show from 60 years ago, let's make it better.
Yeah.
Let's actually make it better. We'll keep the things that people liked about it, and we'll make it better. And I think they did just that. So, out of 10, I mean, the fact that I thought that John might actually die, like that really
says a lot.
That says a lot to me. So I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna go on just a cool 9. Just a solid 9.
I'm also gonna give it a 9.
Not bad.
That's-
This is a rare moment.
Wow.
A rare moment.
I didn't know anything about the show. I apparently had no idea about
You
the Mr.
literally
Robinson
didn't even know about the robot.
We're all three of us. I'm including producer Josh. We're
Yeah.
all dorks. We love sci-fi shit.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
this is not cheesy. It's It's like just
It's a
enough.
little campy.
It's just enough cheese.
Yeah.
It's not too much cheese.
Yeah.
It looks great. It's acted super awesome.
Yeah, the acting
like,
is very well. Very well done.
I think like. Again, going to these kind of subtle references to other franchises, like that's super cool if that's what they're doing,
Yeah.
which it's kind of almost impossible
Well,
to think that's
so-
not what they're doing.
Well, so when they showed the Resolute, it almost looked like that was an homage to the ship in Interstellar.
Yeah, yeah. I actually, yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing too is when I kind of take in consideration of like how I'm going to rate the show, I think about like how I felt watching this one episode out of context.
Yeah.
And at the end, I think, do I want to watch more? That's a huge like determination of how I rate the show, and like I definitely was like, oh, I could see myself watching this show.
Yeah, I would totally watch this. Yeah, okay, by the way, Interstellar 2014, Lost in Space 2018, very possibly could have been a reference.
I like it.
Yeah.
Going back to what you said, this show, very cool.
Very cool. Very cool.
I also give it a 9. I think this is...
So that's the Resolute. It looks just like the ship from Interstellar.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna deep dive and hop on Reddit and
Yeah.
see what references. Yeah, so that was our
That was our take on
thoughts-
Lost in Space.
Our thoughts on
Netflix's Lost in Space.
Lost in Space.
Lost in Space.
If you are a fan of the show,
Wait, did you ever
and
watch Space Force?
I only watched the first
This was better.
couple episodes.
This was better.
I think so too.
Space Force was better than it got credit for, but this was better.
If you're a fan of Lost in Space, hop onto our Instagram, hop onto our YouTube, leave us some comments, tell us what we got wrong, what we should look for, what you think of the show, etc., etc. Find us on the internet, YNST Podcast on Instagram. Also, look for us on the YouTube.
Yes, if you're only listening to this, you can see our sexy, sexy faces with our sexy, sexy voices on the YouTube.
Leave us some comments. Tell us what you think about the show.
Yeah.
We
will respond to literally every comment.
What are we watching next week? Producer Josh, dig into the hat. What do we got?
I'm going to be watching 'Halt and Catch Fire again.
Oh yeah, that
I
wasn't
don't know
that
what
makes
you're
sense.
going to do.
Yeah.
Sure.
Next week, we are watching Insecure.
Huh?
Very excited about this.
Huh?
Very, very, very excited to watch this show.
Are you?
Issa Rae.
Who?
Issa Rae, she's like this generation's like most prolific like African American female TV producer. Like she's great.
Huh?
What are we episodes? What are we watching? I'm super hyped.
I've never even
I'm
heard of
actually
this.
very surprised that I have not watched the show because I can already tell you that this is
Oh.
going to be a show that I'm going to like.
It's an HBO series.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, so we got, looks like 5 seasons.
Wow.
Season 5. I don't think season 5's aired yet.
Oh no, you know what? I do remember. Okay, I'll save it for next.
I think season
save it
4
for
just
next week.
finished.
Okay, yeah,
Season
so
5
season 4.
hasn't aired yet.
So
But we have 4 seasons.
It's 4 seasons.
Great hotel.
4 seasons?
Nope. Get it?
I've never
You're
stayed
watching-
there. New
you're-
podcast idea. New podcast idea. I've never stayed there. Horny hotels.
We're watching season 2.
Someone call Shonda, longtime friend Shonda Rhimes.
Season 2, Insecure.
Okay, season 2.
8 episodes. So
All right.
I've never stayed there.
Okay, so next week we are watching
La Quinta Inn.
We are watching Insecure season 2,
Yeah.
episode 4,
Okay.
entitled Hella LA.
Oh hell yeah! All right, I know nothing about this, but I'm all about.
It's like all the episodes start with Hella.
Oh, okay.
Oh, this is awesome.
Sure.
Okay. Hella LA. Issa's confidence is shaken. Molly hangs with a childhood friend, and Lawrence has a wild and crazy night.
Okay. All right. It's only 31 minutes. Oh, okay.
Join us next week. We will be watching the HBO series Insecure. Follow us on all the socials. We post links on things that you suggesting us the things to watch.
Yeah.
Cheers. We'll see you next week.
We will see you guys next week.
You never seen me.